Tell me about Hands Through Stone, the case involving Clarence Ray Allen. Why did you write the book?
Well, first of all, as far as I know, I'm the only judge in California modern history to have witnessed an execution. When I did that, afterwards, people wanted to know what that was like. I think what I said was probably not what a lot of people expected. People wanted to know whether I thought it was a good thing, his execution. What I answered was probably more complex and nuanced than they expected. And I realized that for the average person, this was a story that they wanted to hear. And that book, probably the only cathartic part of that book for me was that it is about a series of murders separated by a number of years. I was a young prosecutor handling one of the biggest cases in the state at the time, and no body had been recovered. Very complex investigation, prosecuting Allen, promising witnesses who were very afraid that nothing would happen, which is pretty much what all prosecutors say, because it's true, and that they would be fine, and securing a conviction, and going forward with my career and my life. And then several years later, being confronted with multiple murders, extremely vicious, violent murders, and going through the investigative process and realizing that the same man was responsible for them, and that going into the scene of that second series of murders and seeing one of the witnesses that I had used in the first case lying on the floor, a young man, murdered, having to tell his mother and father that he was dead. And then as the investigation evolved, realizing that the reason that he was dead was because of the first case, and that I had encouraged him to testify, I had encouraged him to participate, he'd done what I'd asked him to do, and he had paid for it. That probably affected me more than anything else. And looking at those 4 young people, 3 of them lying dead on the floor, and that going through my mind, and feeling a certain sense of responsibility that the average person doesn't have to confront, and recognizing that everything that I had said and done was realistic under the circumstances. It just didn't turn out that way. And watching the evolution of it, there was a huge story there. And it was a story about punishment and whether punishment is effective. It was a story about men and women following a case for 26 years, which they did all the way to the end to make sure that he was punished. And people understanding that these officers did not give up. They saw it through. It was about the anguish that the parents felt. It was about the emotions that a prosecutor feels. And it was about the resolution and how you feel at the end. Coming from a man who had been there at the beginning and then at the end, all the way, 26 years. That's Hansherstone. That's what that book is about. It had a real impact on people. Still does when they read it. And I had somebody the other day that told me that he had read it 3 times and it still affected him. And he had sent it to other people. And I think it interests me how they react to it. And that I think I conveyed the emotion of it so that a person could understand it. And I think that's the important aspect of it. And so, of all the books that I've written, when you talk about catharsis or an Hansherstone is it.